Breaking news alert. Rush Limbaugh's studio is getting raided by the Department of Homeland Security right now. We're gonna go live to New York to Rush's studio. Rush, are you there? Are you okay? He's dead. Welcome to the Mark David Show, where the truth is a conspiracy. We got a huge show for you today. A lot of stuff going on. Let's start with the economy.
You couldn't let these people collapse.
I'm sure that was the right judgment at the time.
The worst isn't over. The worst is just beginning.
Warren Buffett buying Bank of America stock, trying to give some credibility to this bank, which is going under, sure as heck, okay? Warren Buffett is an inside trading shill. How do you think he got so rich? He's so much smarter than you. No, he's an insider. Always has been. Why do you think he buys preferred stock and you buy common stock? How do you suppose he's able to borrow from the Fed window at 0% interest rates and your credit card is on average 16%? He's an inside. See, I am not an advocate for higher taxes. Higher taxes are bad overall. But let's get into this tax debate really quickly. Every time it's mentioned that wealthy people should pay more in taxes, which I'm not in favor of necessarily, every time that's mentioned, there's this term that comes out, class warfare. Class warfare is already being waged against you right now. If you have a 401k, if you work for an hourly wage or a salary, if you don't actually own your home physically, you are in the middle of a class war. And guess what side of that war you're on? The banks are going down. They're going to continue to go down because they don't have the money that's on their balance sheets. We know that. We've known that for at least 3 years now. They don't have the money on their balance sheets. They shift balance sheets around, mark-to-market accounting, Enron fraud. They won't loan to each other because they know each other has toxic assets, which get passed on to the Federal Reserve, which is the ultimate shadow bank. Look, man, there's two types of people in the United States, okay? There's the people that are digesting information such as banks knew that we were going under because hedge fund managers went to them and they went to the SEC, guys like Jim Chanos, and told them there's a debt bubble and it's going to burst and it's going to blow up the worldwide economy. So banks created investment vehicles to profit from their own demise. And when time to pay up on those investment vehicles, AIG couldn't pay them. So Goldman Sachs had to get AIG a quote-unquote bailout, which that money went to Goldman Sachs, and AIG's toxic assets got passed on to the French bank, which is going under. Except Rothschild, like Warren Buffett, Rothschilds came out to give a stamp of approval for Societe Generale, the French bank. This is essentially QE3 from the big private investors of the world. So we're digesting this information and we're being told, okay, central banks are buying gold at a record pace. So obviously whatever they're planning on doing is going to have some sort of gold backing. And we're digesting this. It's going to be painful. We went through quantitative easing. Now we're in Operation Twist 2, Part 2, blah, blah, blah. And even if that's a lot of that's new to you, you're smart enough you could figure this out, okay? You can look those things up and figure it out. And then there's the majority of Americans who are getting told, Wall Street got drunk, so we're going to kick the can. Okay, we just kicked the can and it didn't work, so we're going to kick the can again. Okay, kicking the can. By the way, America, we're not going to always be able to kick this can, but we're going to kick it again. Here we go, kicking the can. It's unbelievable that people digest this crap. There is a generational gap going on right now, and I'll tell you right now, what side of that trade you want to be on. You want to be on with the little skinny geeky nerds who can digest this stuff and digest it quickly, because everyone else has no money, is deep in debt. They have no pension coming to them. And most of their savings is tied up in a mortgage that's absolutely worthless as Wall Street goes down. And so who are these players? Who are the Rothschilds? For those of you who don't know, the Rothschilds are Europe's Rockefellers. Or you could say the Rockefellers are America's Rothschilds. Okay? They own the private central banks that make up the Bank of England. They're uber rich. The Balfour Declaration, which created Israel, was written to Baron Rothschild. It's not a conspiracy theory, and sure as heck ain't anti-Semitic, because the Israelis built a guillotine and put it on Rothschild Way. So at this point, if you say something about the Rothschilds and the word anti-Semitism is thrown at you, you have to throw it to the whole nation of Israel. It ain't going to happen. Let's go to political news.
We needed a new world order.
A world order.
A new world order.
Military-industrial complex.
We're in the midst of a campaign, and it is a total fraud. As I said in my last podcast, Downgrade the Media, I talked a little bit about Ron Paul and the media's attack on him. I'm not here to endorse Ron Paul. I'm here to endorse listening to this man whose investments are up between 300 and 10,000%. A man who has been calling for this exact scenario since the 80s. But no, we're not going to listen to him. We're going to listen to Rick Perry, who flip-flops. We're going to listen to Mitt Romney, who worked at a hedge fund. We're going to listen to Michelle Bachmann, who no one even knows who she is. Nobody knows who she is. And if you have half a brain, you sure don't care. Please, people, we got to stop this Democrat-Republican fraud. Okay? First and foremost, it's so simple. Every so many years, they have to change the deck, and they can do it as simple as throwing in a third-party candidate who sucks votes away. You could say that Ross Perot was set up to be that. You could say that Ralph Nader has been set up to do that very thing. Every once in a while, the media can pick somebody to be the third-party candidate. That's the simple way to control both parties. The even simpler way is just to write gigantic checks. And this is all public information, people. This is not rocket science. And this is what kills me. The people who choose, we're talking about when you elect a president, you're talking about the executive branch. Anyone who picks a red or blue, who calls himself a conservative or a liberal, has not read executive orders, which come out of the executive branch, which is that in itself is stupid. Okay? The executive branch is not ran by the president. It's ran by the principals committee per executive order. Read the executive orders before you talk to me about, okay, the Republican a couple times ago didn't work, and then we got a Democrat. Okay, we're going to try a Republican again. Yeah, that's going to work. At some point, that portion of Americans deserve to fail. You're too stupid to succeed, so you have to fail. That is why America's failing, because it is the majority. And this carries over. This is not just limited to Ron Paul, this media blackwash, of Ron Paul. Not letting Ron Paul speak, trying to push Ron Paul out of because he's miles ahead of your other candidates. This is found in every company in the United States, certainly every government institution in the United States, and it's why the system is a failure completely across the board. You elevate people who suck up to you. You elevate people who serve your interest and serve your ego, not who innovate, not who do the best job. Prison is full of people that should have been promoted. It's also full of hardened criminals, and now they're intermingling and creating super criminals. And as prisons have their budgets cut, they're going to just start letting people out eventually. You can look at the decline of any major superpower throughout history, and you can see what's about to happen in the United States. Here's what we got to do, people. Here's the solution. You have to force the truth into people's faces. They're not letting you decide By choosing a Democrat or Republican over and over and over and over and over. They're not letting you decide your future. They're not letting you decide. They're not letting you enter the debate. So don't let them be stupid. Don't let people be stupid. Don't let them be stupid. Let them know. You're not going to be stupid on my watch. Let's talk about the police state.
No matter what your purpose.
These demands are not open to negotiation.
As I've said a million times, we do not need a police state. If police are smart, they're not going to allow a police state. Because see, here's what's going to happen. Some police are going to, this is all going to go to their heads, and they're going to be abusive. Over time, their budgets are going to get cut. And the police are going to have to justify to the citizens why they're needed. And if citizens are saying, no, you're just abusing us. You're not peace officers. You're occupiers. So the police management administrators are going to say, okay, we got to get rid of the abusers. So then all the abusive police officers who, because of technology, are going to be well known by name, picture, ID, career history, and so forth, they're going to be thrown out into the street amongst the people. You'd be better off locked in a cage where you're protected. So police, you got to be smart. You got to be smart. Individually, police, you got to be smart. You can't be abusive. It's going to blow up in your face. It's going to come back and get you. Don't do it. And I'm saying, let's assume there won't be any kind of major uprising, which I'm sure there will, pockets of it here and there. But you got to be smart, police. You got to just do a good job. Do your job. Lock the criminals. There's going to be so much work for you. There's going to be so many criminals. There's going to be so much crime as time goes on. You don't need to be a police state. You don't need to let this go to your head. You have a job to do. You're put where you're at for a reason. Do like everyone else and be a part of your community. Not a part of some global banking agenda to control everyone digitally. Now this Irene, this is a perfect opportunity to send troops into cities and never let them leave. And you know that's what's going to happen. Some of my listeners are following the police state buildup and the Marines that and the troops that surround every major city. FEMA camps are being talked about constantly. This is mainstream stuff, even if it's not in the mainstream. And this is a beautiful thing because there's this huge disconnect between what people are absorbing as information now and what the mainstream thinks people are absorbing as information, because mainstream thinks that they are the source of information. You're a dinosaur. Mainstream media, which my last podcast was called Downgrade the Media, they're a dinosaur. They are dead. They're already extinct. They're done. Get out. You're fired. Let's talk about the meltdown.
Do it live!
I want to eat your children. You're fired.
People are getting edgier. There's no question about it. Stupid people are getting stupider. You had this fight out in San Francisco. San Francisco versus Oakland. How stupid. What a stupid thing to fight over. Could you be more stupid? Now I'm sure this was gangs and this had to do with colors, and you know what? Police, as I've said earlier, you're going to have plenty to deal with. There's going to be plenty of people to shoot, plenty of people to put down without even walking on anyone's constitutional rights. You'll have all the opportunities to be little mini dictators that you want. Focus on those people, okay?